Hello, everyone. My name is Lucian. Most of you know me from Twitter as Triangle Investor. In today's show, my guest is Forum Energy CEO, Mr. Richard Mazur. Richard, welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me on, Lucian.
Thank you very much. Do you mind if I call you Rick?
Absolutely. That's how I go by, Rick Mazur.
Excellent. Rick, let's start with your background first. Can you share my audience how did you end up in uranium exploration, and how did you become Forum Energy CEO?
Yeah, so I graduated from the University of Toronto in geology in 1975, and they were just crying for geologists at that time to get involved in uranium exploration. So the first 10 years of my career as a young geologist was in uranium, in the in Canada predominantly. The reason for the interest in uranium at that time was the Arab oil embargo ensued in 1973.
Yeah.
There was there was an energy crisis, and there was a huge demand for diversification of into uranium as an energy source. Sound familiar as today?
Yeah, definitely.
In any event, the oil companies got involved in it in a very big way, poured a lot of money into it, and made some very significant discoveries in the Athabasca Basin at that time. During that time, I spent about 4 years of my career exploring a similar basin, the Thelon Basin in Nunavut, which is a geological analog to the Athabasca Basin. And I've always been totally intrigued by the potential, the enormous potential that basin has. So that's my background.
Excellent background, definitely. Richard, I want to start with question about uranium equities. We saw some move recently in uranium equities. My question is, do you think that the bleeding has stopped, or we can see more pain ahead, or this is one sustainable go ahead for uranium stocks?
Yeah, I believe finally we're seeing some price momentum after more than a year of tracking in that $50 range, and I believe that the uranium bull market is at its earliest stages, given the demand for nuclear energy that we can foresee for the future.
Yeah, definitely. How do you see long-term prices? Do you see them also climbing?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, I'm a bull. I believe that the demand is going to certainly outstrip supply at this stage, and prices will begin to uptick. And with that, I think uranium equities will get a better valuation than they certainly are today.
Okay. Let's touch on company developments and news. Your company is a multi-metal exploration company with assets in Athabasca in Saskatchewan and assets in Thelon Basin in Nunavut, like you said. I would like if we can cover all your assets where you can give us information about their status and plans. But let's start with the recent news first. Uranium Energy Corp UAC has acquired 60% interest in the Henday uranium project, and you will retain 40% as a partner with UAC. What can you tell me about this deal and how it will work out for your company, and what are the benefits from this deal, and what are the plans? Did you discuss already with UAC management about the plans ahead?
Yeah, well, you're right. We are a diversified energy metals company, but just so your listeners know, we started out in 2004 strictly as a uranium exploration company, and I was acquiring assets predominantly in the Athabasca Basin and the Thelon at that time. We diversified into energy metals in 2018. But to your point, the Henday project, which UEC now has a 60% interest, I acquired that in 2007 from a private company. It was a very well positioned project, very close to existing deposits in the northeastern part of the Athabasca Basin. We subsequently joint ventured that out to Hathor Exploration. We all know historically that Hathor made the Rough Rider discovery. Hathor spent $3.5 million on the Henday project and earned 60%. Rio Tinto acquired Hathor in, I believe it was 2012,
I think
for $500 million. And with that, they got the Henday project. So Rio Tinto acquired that 60% interest, and we had a 40% interest. Rio Tinto spent a little over $3 million on a drill campaign on Henday. But then subsequently exited the whole uranium space in the mid 2013, say. And it sat dormant. A great project. We would like to have continued to see some work on it, but it sat dormant with Rio Tinto. Well, Uranium Energy Corp just acquired, as you know, they acquired the Rough Rider deposit from Rio Tinto.
Yes.
And they have now acquired Rio Tinto's exploration assets, the predominant one being the Henday project, which we still have a 40% interest in. My hope is that Uranium Energy Corp will propose a program for Henday this year. We think there's still tons of potential. It's so well located, and we'll wait to see. Uranium Equities or Energy Corp has just completed that transaction, so we'll wait and hear from them.
Yeah, definitely. What caught my eye is that they have a right to earn additional 10% on the property by funding $20 million expenditures or delivering a feasibility study on the property. That will be excellent for your company in either way, right?
Yeah, that's an addendum to our 60-40 joint venture that was negotiated with Rio Tinto, and we'll see if Uranium Energy Corp continues with that earned interest.
Okay, let's discuss Thelon Basin uranium project. It is previously owned by Cameco. You have started drilling this property. Can you tell me more about this property? How is the drilling going? I think you are done with drilling over there, if I'm not wrong, if I'm correct. And what are the plans and expectations from this drilling and going forward?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the Thelon Basin, I believe, is a geological analog to the Athabasca. So we kind of call it the Athabasca 2.0. We think it has the same sort of potential to have large uranium deposits as in the Athabasca. I mean, the Athabasca Basin has in the ground and with its production history over 1 billion pounds of uranium there, and it's high grade uranium. Well, we think we have the same thing up in the Thelon Basin. So how we acquired this project, as I mentioned, I worked up there in my early career for about 4 years, and in 2006, a uranium policy was adopted by the territory of Nunavut for uranium, and Orano, the French nuclear corporation, was commencing a feasibility study on its Kigavik deposit, which occurs in the basin. So I acquired 100,000 hectares of land in 2006 adjacent to the Kigavik deposit. And Cameco was already there on the other side of the geological trend of those deposits. So we explored that up until 2012. Orano conducted their feasibility study, their environmental EIS, all of the studies to go into production. And then, unfortunately, the Fukushima accident happened just as they were filing that production certificate, and they decided they put it on care and maintenance. So Cameco and Orano and Forum did not complete much work over the last 8 years. And then I've kept my eye on it. And Cameco they went to mineral lease, and they dropped their leases. And when the uranium market started to tick back up here in 2021, I jumped on it and staked the claims that were originally on Cameco lands. Cameco spent, our estimate, looking at the amount of drilling they did over over 135 holes, is probably about 50 million, and I staked the ground for $150,000.
Great move, definitely great move.
So we've just finished the drill program, as you pointed out. We did a financing in June to fund that program and to mobilize up a second drill up into the property. That financing in June was $3 million financing, and we did that with one investor. Unfortunately, due to an NDA that we have with them, we can't disclose who that is, but they certainly have the same vision that we have, that the Thelon Basin in Nunavut has similar potential as the Athabasca Basin.
Do you have for 2024 some drill plans for this property already?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we've barged. The way you get supplies up there, the most efficient way of getting supplies up there is by ocean barge into the community, local community, where our project is in Nunavut. It's very accessible by barge. So we've shipped up a camp, all the drill supplies, a second drill up to the community of Baker Lake, which is about 100 kilometers east of our project area, and all those supplies are there and will be mobilized to the drill site in 2024, the spring of 2024.
Yeah, excellent. Let's touch on your Athabasca projects a little bit. You have some interesting partners on some projects, like Orano, NextGen, Cameco, and some of those properties are in option agreements. Let's start with your Wollaston project. What can you tell me about this project? And do you have plans for some works to be done for the property? I mean,
yeah. Wollaston is a 100% owned project, located very close to the Rabbit Lake and McLean Lake mills in the northeastern Athabasca Basin, just south of those two mills. We think it has it's a very well located property. There's numerous uranium ore bodies in and around that area. We completed an airborne magnetic and electromagnetic survey over the whole property. We had 2 small drill campaigns on a couple of targets that we had identified with some ground gravity surveys. Got some interesting sniffs, but we recognize that there's so many targets that came out of that survey that we think what we should be doing now is another layer of geophysics. We'll be looking at some point in time continuing with a resistivity survey on some targets that our new VP exploration, Dr. Rebeca Hunter, has identified for us.
Excellent. What about your Highrock property? You have that option. You have option agreement with Sassy Resources. What is the current status of this property?
Yeah, so we've got 3 joint venture properties. Sassy Resources on Highrock. We did a small program in 2022, in the spring of 2022, and Sassy now is the operator of that. We hope that they're going to propose a program for this coming winter. Other joint venture projects that we have, if I can carry on.
Yes, please. Grease River, right?
Grease River, yes, that's a joint venture that we have with Traction Uranium.
Yeah.
We've just completed an airborne mag and EM survey there. It's a grassroots project, geological concept. We'll see what comes out of that. We also have a joint venture at our Fir Island project with Orano, and Orano has earned their 51% interest in that project. That is a good project. Orano is now the operator. They spent $3 million to earn that interest. We'll see what Orano proposes for the program. Nothing this winter. We've been informed of that, but I do believe that in the future, Orano will advance that project. And then there's the Northwest Athabasca joint venture, which we are operator with about 40% interest in that project, with partners NextGen, Cameco, and Areva. We last drilled that project in 2012. There's an existing deposit there. The Maurice Bay deposit is a small deposit, about 1.5 million pounds of uranium there, but it's just an indication of the potential of the area. And we've got over 20 targets on that property that need drilling, and the drilling that we did in the past got a lot of really good sniffs of uranium. And right now it's on hold. No exploration plans for that project. But again, a really good project in our portfolio.
Okay, so you will come back to this project maybe a little bit later, not in the near future, right?
Yeah, there's nothing planned at this stage.
Do you hold any other uranium projects besides the one we just mentioned?
Yeah, the Clearwater project. Now that's a very interesting project. we acquired that by staking after the discovery of the fission uranium triple R project. And
it's West Athabasca. The project is located in the Western Athabasca, right?
In the Western Athabasca. On that Patterson Lake trend, there's the triple R and then the next gen development. So we hold the Clearwater project just to the southwest of the triple R, Fission's triple R. And that's a 75% project. We optioned that to a small junior, and they drilled it a couple of drill campaigns, and they have 25% interest in that. So that's a majority owned project that's on a very, definitely needs some more work. That's on a very good geological trend with those two major uranium project developments underway. And that's available for joint venture.
Okay. Let's move to other commodities you have in your portfolio. You recently announced that the company advanced the steel nickel project in Saskatchewan. What can you tell me about this project?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we started out as a uranium company in 2004. By 2018, we could see the battery metal movement, the energy transition underway. So we really started scouring the geological database in Saskatchewan for energy metals. And that's when we changed our name. We acquired the Janice Lake copper project, which we can talk about later, but also the Still nickel project. There's a small nickel deposit there called Howard Lake that's about 200,000 tons of 1% nickel and 0.5% of copper. And we noticed that the geological trend was open for staking, so we staked it. There's some historical magnetic and electromagnetic data. We went in on the ground. We identified a number of targets, did some geochemical sampling, and have isolated one particular area that looks very interesting to us. So the recent announcement was we're conducting a small a very targeted ground EM survey and mag survey over the target area. So the Still nickel project should be ready for a drill campaign, and that's an optionality project for us for nickel.
You mentioned copper project. You have that is in Saskatchewan, also Wollaston Copper Belt, the Janice Lake sedimentary copper project. What's the plan for this project? Any drilling, any surveys? What's the plan?
Yeah, so that was a project that we drilled in 2018. It's a sedimentary copper project. We got some great results in 2018, and 6 months later, I had a $30 million joint venture with Rio Tinto on that project.
Yeah.
So Rio Tinto worked on that from 2019 through to 2021, through the COVID period. They did 3 drill campaigns. They were looking for something vastly huge. Didn't meet their criteria. We believe that there's potential there for some good mid-sized copper deposits that are open pittable. So what I did was I've negotiated a deal with Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto spent $14 million on it, and on paper have earned their 51% interest. So I negotiated a deal with them to regain 100% interest in the project. And the main aspect of that project is that Rio Tinto will have a 20% back-in right on any deposit discovered at feasibility or production. So it was a good project. It was a good deal in my view to regain interest in the project and maintain some momentum on Janice Lake. And it's a good project that is also available for option.
Okay, let's move to Love Lake project. You staked 12 claims there covering 32,000 hectares. Is there a plan for this property? Are you looking for a partner? What's the plan here?
Yeah, Love Lake. There was a big mafic, ultra mafic copper nickel exploration play, conceptual. We did a lot of good airborne geophysics and one drill campaign. The drilling didn't meet our criteria on the targets we identified. My view is that perhaps the airborne EM survey didn't go deep enough in that system to identify potential embayments for nickel copper sulfides. There is one area that's still very, very interesting that I think should be advanced, but we don't have any plans for that at this stage. Again, that's something that is an optionality play on nickel for our company.
You also have cobalt in your portfolio. You have a project in Idaho in United States. Can you expand a little bit on that project? What are the plans? What are you currently doing over there? If any,
during that diversification period where we were moving into energy metals, an opportunistic investment came up for us for this cobalt play. It's called Quartz Gulch, right next door to Jervois Mining's Idaho Cobalt development project, and the Blackbird, the old historical Blackbird mine in the Idaho Cobalt Belt. So we acquired that from a small junior, and basically we've done some prospecting, some desktop hyperspectral studies, and follow-up prospecting, have identified a number of anomalies, and again that property is ready for as an optionality on cobalt, and basically all we do is pay our Bureau of Land Management fees every year, and we'd like to find a partner to advance that project. There's some very interesting anomalies that have been identified.
You have a lot of great projects, but my question is, what is the long-term plan for the company? Is it to be focused on uranium, or you think you will remain multi-metal company in the upcoming years? What's the plan, long-term plan for your company?
Yeah, well, listen, the opportunity to pick up the Thelon Basin property that was formerly held by Cameco really kind of changed the focus for our company. We're really committed to making a major discovery. We think that there's uranium deposits that are similar in size to what there is in the Athabasca Basin. All we have to do is get out there and drill for it. the groundwork has been laid by all the good work that was done by Cameco. The targets have been identified. 2 deposits have been identified, which we're currently following up on. And that's going to be our focus. It truly is going to be our focus. Uranium in the Thelon Basin, as I mentioned, we believe that's Athabasca 2.0. You know, the Athabasca portfolio that we have some great joint venture partners advancing those projects, so that's adding value. The Energy Metals projects are kind of inventory right now, and as I mentioned, an optionality play on Energy Metals. So if those metals prices increase dramatically and there's interest in that, we have good projects there that we can advance ourselves or through options, most likely through options. Our focus is going to be on the Thelon Basin at this point in time.
Rick, the company has closed 3 million, like you said before. You closed the 3 million private placement in June. My question is, what is the current position with those 3 million? How much did you spend, and how much do you think that amount will get you through in the upcoming period?
Yeah, current cash is about $2.8 million. However, a lot of the bills are coming in for that drill program that we've just completed on the Thelon project. You know, we anticipate that you know, we'll be down to probably about $1 million, plus or more plus, when all the bills come in there.
Okay. Can you tell me more about the share structure? What is the current monthly cash burn? What are the G&A costs? Can you expand a little bit on that, please?
Sure. We have 224 million shares outstanding. The cash burn is about $80,000 per month. That's all up, costs that are not exploration expenses. That would be back office, marketing costs, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about skin in the game? I like to ask all my guests, CEOs, about that metric. How much do you have personally? How much shares do you own in the management for?
Yeah, I've been participating in finance, pretty much every financing that's done for the last 19 years.
Great.
And I have close to 4 million shares in the company. I mean, my average cost over the years, we're talking a long time, is probably about 50 cents. So we've been dedicated to keeping this company going for our shareholders and advancing our projects. And we will have tremendous success here on one of these projects.
I wish you luck with that, definitely. Let's touch a little bit on your team. Who is behind the company? We all know that you have a doctor in your board. That's Dr. Rebeca Hunter, and she worked for Cameco. She's famous. Can you expand a little bit on who are those people and Rebecca's background also, please?
Sure. So on my board, some very good people. I've got out of London, Anthony Baum, and I started the company 19 years ago. And Anthony is still a major shareholder in the company. Again, dedicated to our success. So Anthony is based in London. A recent appointment, Paul Dennison, has joined our board, and he's got a background in the financial sector with a lot of the big European banks. He's based in Zurich, and will be he'll be going to the World Nuclear Association meeting for us next
week.
Yeah, to meet with people in the uranium industry, and the rest of the board it consists of lawyers, accountants, and mining analysts that provide, I think, good governance for the company. I'm proud of our our ESG activities since inception.
Yeah. I asked you about Rebeca. What did she brought to the company? What is the biggest value that Rebeca brings to the company?
Yeah, that was a good snag for me to get her on the team here. Well, the way that transpired was, as I mentioned, I could see that the ground was open. The Cameco, formerly held by Cameco ground, was open. Staked the ground. I gave her a call. She was working for the BC Geological Survey at the time, and I said, "Hey, I'm staking up your old project." I said, "Will you give us a hand?" And she said, "Sure." And we worked together on making sure that we acquired all of the prospective lands, and a little over about 18 months ago, I posed the question to her. I said, "Hey, how would you like to come on full time?" And she said she absolutely would relish the thought of getting back into uranium exploration. That's in her blood. But she had to finish up things with the survey. She joined us full time in September of 2022, and I appointed her vice president of exploration in December. She knows the Thelon project inside and out. She worked on it for 8 years, made those discoveries in the Thelon Basin. She did her thesis on the geological and structural settings of those deposits, so she has a very good handle on how those are formed, and she's the best person that could make a discovery on this, a big discovery on this project, and continue the work that she started back in her Cameco days.
Yeah, excellent. I plan to host Rebeca in my show, to sit on the hot chair and ask her some tough questions also. Looking forward to that. Rick, please, can you give us approximate timeline on Newsflow from the drilling, about the drilling results from Thelon Basin? When do you expect results to come out, and the next steps ahead?
Yeah, the results should be coming in by late September and through October.
Okay. So we will. It will be a one news release, or we will have few of them. Do you know?
Yeah. So with regards to that project, we'll probably put them out as the results come to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be several drill result releases through that period of September, October.
Okay. Beside that project, can we expect some news on other properties in this year? Let's say in the next 3 months, some news flow from other properties. Do you expect any?
Well, let's see what Uranium Energy Corp comes up with.
Okay.
I'd certainly be in favor of them advancing that project. I think that's a great exploration project. The Still Nickel project results should be coming out from our electromagnetic surveys as to potential targets on that nickel project. The results from our Traction Uranium Grease River project should be coming out. Let's see what else will be underway. I mean, Sassy Resources will hopefully be mounting a drill campaign on our Highrock project. So we'll just monitor our joint venture partner interests as well.
And what about possible M&A? I know you have a lot of properties and projects, but are you searching for more projects at this moment or not?
No, our portfolio is pretty robust.
Yeah.
We've had discussions about at the board level of about potential spin-offs and things of that nature. When the timing's right, we'll be opportunistic in that regard. As you know, the market over the last year has been tough, but I personally see some good news on the horizon, in the uranium markets, and I'm pretty positive about 2024.
Same here, Rick. Tell me, please, how can investors reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, please, the phone number is on the website. Send us an email to info@forumenergymetals.com. We monitor that on a daily basis, and if there's any investor inquiries, take a good look at our website. Go to our media channel, which there's a lot of good information on that media page with different YouTube videos, etc., and an opportunity for you to meet with Dr. Hunter by video. That's probably the best way of getting a hold of us.
Okay.
Learning about the company.
Rick, I want to thank you for coming to my show. It was really a good chat. I wish you luck with your company and, of course, in your private life as well. Thank you very much for being my guest.
And same to you. Thank you, Lucien.